we've gotten to a point where we've made 7,000 plus introductions, invested in 16 plus companies, hosted 30, 40, 50 events. In the past 10 months, we've invested $43 million into 16 different companies through this deal-by-deal approach.
In today's episode, Deep, an agency owner who's generated hundreds of millions of views for his clients, sits down with Jake and Axe, founders of the Nucleus Network, a networking community connecting great people to great people. The total deal value from the connections Nucleus made has surpassed $50 million.
And so he had this idea to build a company around that fact that your network is your net worth. That sounds great. What does this look like?
Yeah. How do we start a full-time business?
Right.
What skills do you guys find go into good networking?
I think you do it really well. It's all about...
This podcast is all about simplifying success 1% at a time. I'm your host, Deepak Sharma, and I'm joined with my brothers, Michael and Jake. What's up, boys?
Thanks for having us.
What's up, dude? Thank you.
We're here in LA, man. It was my first time in Cali, and I'm fired up. But this is kind of like a beautiful visual of what you guys do. It's like you connect people, and then we make magic happen. Like that's what we're going to do today.
Yeah.
I'm super fired up. And for those who don't know, you guys have created the Nucleus Network. And a lot more than that, and we'll dive into all that today. But I've had the privilege and the honor to be a member of this. And I didn't really know what it was when I first got introduced
Like most
to me.
people.
It's kind of this behind the scenes thing. It's not like overly advertised or talked about. And that's beautiful how you guys have done it, because you've curated an incredible way of making warm intros, and you've done thousands of them. I was listening to one of the old podcasts that you did, and you've done 1,500. That number has changed quite a bit. Why don't we start there? How many warm intros have you guys facilitated?
We've done over 7,000 now. So since we've seen you last, it's been about 5,500, I guess.
Insane.
Yeah.
Insane. And one thing I want to honor you guys and give you a massive shout out is when I first met you, when I first spoke to you guys about this, I told you my intentions. I want to meet cool people. I want to, have more friends, meet amazing connections, get better podcast guests, and also get some business. I can honestly say I've gotten all of that. So big shout out to the Nucleus Network and what you guys have done. But for those listening, what is it? What is the Nucleus Network? This thing that we're talking about, what is it?
Yeah, and before we get into it, it's come full circle. Since we first met, which Michael and I were talking before we got here of how we met you, and it actually is directly how the Nucleus Network started. One of Michael's friends mentioned that we should meet you. You were in New York for a little bit. That's where our office was at the time.
Yep.
Next thing you know, we're very open-minded, and we wanted to meet you, obviously. So you came to our office. We got to know each other a little bit. And we always ask the question, what are you looking for? Not just the what, but the who. Who do you want to be connected to? And now it's really come full circle. Like you said, now we're on your podcast. It's really not that deep, like you said. And we've been following your journey since we talked to you last. And it's just amazing to see your growth, everything that you've been doing, man. It's really amazing. And from the people that we've introduced you to also, it's great to hear their perspectives of meeting you, because that's really important to us also.
For sure.
And welcome to LA, man. I'm born and raised here. Michael's from New York, but he was living here for a little bit. So you're in the best city in the world, and it's great to have you here, man.
It's definitely incredible, and I appreciate the warm welcome. And I want to retweet what you just said, bro, because it's incredible what you guys have facilitated. And it's not just me, it's so many members, and the butterfly effect of these relationships it's the most exciting part of this game that we play, to me, is the relationships. Tell me about how your guys' relationship began.
That's a great question, and one that we don't get asked a lot, but it's interesting because we had mutual friends. I went to Indiana University. Jake went to Michigan, so...
Go blue, baby.
Go blue, yes.
Go blue. Let's go.
No, go Hoosiers. I don't even know what they say. I'll close up the podcast here. They're actually good at football. I don't know how or why, but they are. Congratulations. You're studying abroad in Australia, and that's when we first met. This was back in 2017. As Jake mentioned, I'm from New York and moved out to LA 2019, and he was one of maybe 5 people that I knew. Took me under his wing, introduced me to his friends and family. We started talking business, going out, getting dinners. And actually, Nucleus is not the first business we've ever started together.
Okay.
And so we've had an experience of doing business together. And ultimately, Jake came to me with the idea to joined forces and launched Nucleus back in October of 2023. So that's kind of how we first met and how it's gotten to where we're at today.
Wow, I love that.
Yeah.
When you guys did get together, like, what was the conversation like of like, yo, we love like introducing each other to people and stuff like that. How does that turn into a formalized like company?
That's actually exactly how it happened. Jake came to me. He's like, yo, we both love connecting people to each other. We've both been the people in our networks that anyone goes to when they're looking for something. I need to hire a graphic designer. I need a podcast guest to appear on my show. I'm looking to, land new customers, whatever that might be. And so he had this idea to build a company around that fact that your network is your net worth, and that everyone knows that. That's not, that's kind of unanimously known. What I questioned at first was, that sounds great, and to your point, how do we? What does this look like?
How do we start a full-time business?
Right.
That?
And so what we did, we went out and started Nucleus in October of 2023, and the model was connecting great people to great people, and that actually hasn't changed. That's still what we focus on today. The evolution of the business we can get into in a little bit, but we started by signing referral agreements with different people in industries, right? So it could be a podcast host, it could be a graphic designer, it might be a tech founder, it might be an agency. And we said, hey, we've got this network of people that we know, that we've vetted, that we've done business with. We'd love to connect the dots for you. And the initial model was a referral agreement. So we took a % of deals that closed as a result of the introductions that we made. And we were betting on ourselves and betting on our network. And so that's when we went out and signed several hundred agreements and made several thousand introductions when we started the company. And I can let you tell more about how that's evolved over time.
Yeah, I mean, even back to that, because you're asking about our relationships, I think it's important to note, Axe mentioned a little bit about the company we started before this, but to me, like, that company still has a lot of legs and potential. But basically what we started, which was fascinating, we both had full-time jobs at the time. It was COVID. And I think the most successful business owners, not just businesses, they find where there's a hole in the market and they find a way to fill the hole. They find a way to fill the gap. For us, we love sushi, like most people, especially in LA. You're in our city now. And what we noticed was people love spicy tuna crispy rice. That's like everyone's favorite thing.
You like that dish?
I love it.
Yeah, there you go. It's a lock every time you go to a fish restaurant.
For sure.
9 out of 10 people order it.
Yeah.
So we were like, how do we bring that to life? Make it easy, convenient, and actually deliver it to people during COVID. So that's what we started. We started a company called Crispy Rice Bites. Every Saturday, I would go to the Japanese market, pick up the fish. I'd bring it back to Axe in his kitchen. He'd be wearing like an apron and he'd be cooking.
Chefing up.
He'd be chefing it.
Like, it was hilarious. Like, we just had fun doing it. We did it for a couple months. And like, I think that's really important when you start a business with anybody. You first need to try, like, start small, because you can be friends, and then you can be co-founders, and then eventually you want to do bigger things together. So I think that's key on how we started a new relationship and how it's evolved.
And it's a microcosm of like what I find is the ethos of Nucleus as well. It's so much giving value before asking for anything, right? And one thing I particularly love about what you guys do is the double opt-in type of thing, right? Explain what that means.
It's exactly what it sounds like, but it's interesting. To us in our world, it's so natural, but to many, it's not. So a double opt-in is exactly how it sounds. When you meet someone for the first time and they say to you, hey, I'm looking to meet this person, you're not just randomly going to go out and make the introduction. What you're going to do is you're going to go to the other side and say, hey, I want to introduce you to somebody. They'd be great for this, this, and this. Do you want to meet them? And once they say yes, that's when you actually make the introduction.
Well, yeah, because there's nothing worse than someone throwing you in a group chat and you're like, yo, bro, like, that's actually not me at all. I don't like, yeah, I run a content company and we blow people up and stuff, but like what this person needs is not even close. So now I'm in an awkward position where I'm like, hey man, like, cool to meet you and stuff, like, for sure, but I can't help you. Now everyone just lost.
Right.
That's a lose scenario.
The connector lost. Both sides lost.
And when the opt-in happens, you have the opposite, which is the win-win-win, because context is provided on both sides. You understood what the reason for the introduction is. You learned a little bit more about how you might be able to help that person, and then that's that win-win-win. So that's kind of the basic formula that we have for what we call a successful introduction. Now, it is an art and a science, right? Like this science element of, okay, both people said, yes, great. That's like, we got 2 opt-ins. The art is what we call like the gut intuition. Like, do we think Deepak and Jake would hit it off as human beings? Are they aligned in their interests and hobbies and passions? Do they have things that can hit it off on inside and outside of work? And so that's kind of the thing that's a little bit less tangible, but I would argue more important and only takes time to perfect. We've gotten really good at it, but we have a long ways to go.
For sure. And I've noticed that from all the intros that you guys have personally given me, Like I could tell, I get so excited when I get put in a group chat with you guys because I'm like, oh, I already know this person's going to be dope. But that didn't happen overnight. Like you guys have built up that reputation of like, yo, if we're going to make this intro, it's going to be for something valid. And so every time I've been on the other end of that, I can honestly say it. I'm not here just trying to glaze you guys. Like obviously, like but I genuinely, as someone who's experienced it so much, like not just once or twice, like many times through what you guys do, it is an art. It truly is. And like speaking on that a little bit further, I think it's also, people don't break down the science and the art of networking. It's kind of this weird word that's thrown around like, oh yeah, you got to network. And I went to business school as well, and I remember you got to go to these networking events. I'm like, the fuck is a networking event, bro? Like, what are you talking about? You got to suit up. It's this stiff room where a bunch of people wearing like name tags and just handshaking, like speed dating essentially. And it's like, I hated it. I couldn't stand it. But the biggest thing I learned in business school was networking, was going out to bars, was becoming a professional partier in ways, and actually connecting with people on like a deeper level. Yeah, exactly. Even though it's not that deep, but all that to say, it's like similar to sales, right? It's like that's what I'd say is like in business, probably my best skill set. But similar to sales, it's not one skill, it's a bunch of different skills. What skills do you guys find go into good networking?
I think you do it really well. When you just said yourself you wanted to go to events to meet more people, I think you do that in the content that you put out yourself and the content you're helping other people put out. It's all about being personable and understanding someone. So if there's something that's very bland and you want to go and do it, sure, that's something. But unless you actually have the story behind who the person is or the business is, that's how you'll eventually succeed in everything that you're doing. You see it now, people buy from people, they don't buy from businesses.
Yep. That's
exactly the way I feel about networking, and I'm sure Mike will feel the same way. Networking should be something that A, you want to do. B, you shouldn't have to go out of your way to do. It should feel natural for you to do. Mm-hmm. And then C, the most important thing is, don't just talk about yourself all the time. Find out what the other person's story or business's story is. And then from there, try to find common themes so that you can talk about. So we have very common personality traits, but more importantly, we like very common hobbies. Paddle tennis, pickleball, coffee, like all these things. When you can get on the same level as someone else that believes in that too or likes doing those hobbies, you ultimately become friends. So that's my thought process.
Yeah, and I feel like when you meet someone out, whether it's at a party, at a networking conference, in class, or on a podcast, and you have that commonality, whether it's paddle tennis or podcast or coffee, you get to know that person personally, then you're more intrinsically motivated to do business with that person because you feel like you understand who they are, what they do, what they stand for, versus it's almost counterintuitive. If you meet someone that you know nothing about across the table at a bar or at a conference and you think that you might want to do business with them, that's totally great, and that happens all the time. What we found is that it's so much more likely to occur if you can get to know that person on that personal level, because business will come second, and then both sides will be a little bit more interested in figuring out a way to make it work.
Totally. I feel like so many people come at it from the angle of what's in it for me, and they lead with that. And look, we are all selfishly motivated at one level or another. Like, I'm not just doing this podcast out of the goodness of my heart. Like, there are deeper reasons that you can go back of like, how does this serve me? But don't fucking lead with that. Like, don't like start, oh man, I hate it when I go up to a conference and someone just starts pitching me their stuff immediately. I feel the commission breath on a realtor. Like, hey, you looking to sell a house? Like, how, you didn't even ask me my fucking name, bro. What are we doing here?
It's just people lack patience. That's what it is. People just want the sale now, or they want to get to the next level now. But if you're not playing the game, you're going to lose the game. Yeah.
You once said on a podcast, you quoted Charlie Munger, and it was, show me the incentive, I'll show you the outcome. And I think you guys have mastered that with your business model of, incentivizing. It's all about paying on performance. But talk to me about like the ins and outs on like how you can trust that that's always going to work out for you.
It's a great question. The business is based on two quotes, right? The first one is your network is your net worth. We established that. The second one you brought up is the Charlie Munger quote, which I love to say. I want to take a step back for a second. Out of the 7,000 plus introductions we've made, almost half of those, so over 3,000, are non-transactional. Hey, Deepak, you and Jake should go play tennis together. Hey, Deepak, go grab coffee with my boy Michael because you guys will really hit it off. There's no monetary exchange of value happening in that relationship, at least to our knowledge up front. We lean into those introductions because those introductions prove that we have what you said earlier in mind, which is sure the incentive, piece of it, but also giving before asking of anything. And if both sides find some form of value, even if it's non-monetary, I would argue, especially if it's non-monetary, you're happy to come back to Nucleus as a trusted, vetted source of successful individuals and businesses. So I think it's important to note kind of the difference between, pay performance. Of course, we're in business to make money. That's, one of the many reasons, but we do so by helping people. And so helping people often comes through introductions that there are no transactions.
And I find people reciprocate as well, right? Like when I can speak from my experience, and I'm sure a lot of other members feel the same way. And I know they do because I've spoken to them about it. Okay, I might not have done a deal with this guy, but I got another deal from the guy. Or second order effects. Or I did a podcast with this one guy that led to, this woman. Something. So I still feel like, I don't want to say indebted, but I feel like, no, like that happened because I trace it back to like being part of this network. Yeah. And again, without just sounding like I'm just pumping it up, I think it's important for people to understand like this isn't any old, you just join some group or club and it's like a WhatsApp chat with 7,000 people just pitching their stuff. And I hate those. I can't stand those. I mute them or literally leave the group at the risk of like having people hate me. I'm just like, bro, I can't do it. That's not how, it doesn't feel right to me. Yeah. But what does feel right is, we go for a coffee. You introduce me to someone, I go grab a coffee with in New York. I did that. And then I learn about them. I genuinely care about what they got going on. And then, I think of some stuff for them. They think that's just it's a way more chill way of doing it, which I think people need to take away from the show. Even if you don't join the Nucleus Network, like apply this to your life, man.
Yeah, that's it. I want to touch more on the incentive piece for a second, which is there's a lot of communities or networks or groups out there that are paid, and those are they're finding success, right? We know them. We've interacted
paid
with
up front, basically. So I'm sure you've seen it.
Yeah, membership or subscription based, right? Hey, join the Nucleus Network. It's $10,000. Not to knock those guys. The reason we intentionally haven't taken that approach is because you talk about the incentive piece. If we charge, we probably could charge anybody, hey, pay $10,000 to be part of the Nucleus Network. Then the expectation you have is much higher than it is with
now I need to make my return for this to make sense, and there's pressure now.
That's right. Yeah. And what we found is the value that's created by actually foregoing that upfront fee, making introductions in good faith, finding ways to monetize and just add value separately, that greatly exceeds whatever subscription or membership fee we would charge upfront.
It's a vending machine. Whenever you spend money on anything, people expect to make more than that. Mm-hmm. And that's why, in my opinion, what we're building and what we've done on the warm introduction side is completely different than what other people are doing, because a vending machine, when you buy paid ads, right? Let's say you spend $10,000 on paid ads. If you're not making 2x that or even 1.6 that, for example, it's a waste of your money in some capacity. But introductions, you can be friends with someone for a lifetime. They can introduce you to 5 or 10 other clients. It's hard to pull like a good ROI on it, but the ROI, in my opinion, will always be higher.
Yeah.
So that's why this advisory side of our business, which we'll get into, is completely different than the paid ads side of the world. And this is anti-AI. It's hedging against AI for the future.
Yeah. How do you guys vet people to actually join the network? Because, not everyone can join.
Want me to go?
Yeah, go ahead.
I say 5 things. Axe usually doesn't say it, but do you even know them?
I don't know a few. You know some. I know a few, bro.
This was...
I know Deepak has all 5. That's
right. That's right. Deepak does have all 5. Vetting is... I would say it was the biggest challenge when we first started this company.
Right.
And it's a big challenge for everybody in any business. For us, when we first started, we basically went to everybody that we knew and said, hey, we're starting this company. Do you need anything? And then they were like, no, I don't, but my friend does. And then we basically were helping make introductions for their friends, but there was no vetting system like yourself. So we learned our lessons, and we're obviously getting better, and nothing's perfect on the vetting side. But there's 5 things that we've kind of noticed that we think we can make the best introductions for and to. The first one is that you need to be open-minded. If you're not open-minded, it's a challenge for everybody, not just us, but for the people around you. The second is that you need to be an effective communicator. Why we believe in that is you're an effective communicator yourself. Is let's say we make an introduction for you. It could even be a client, a lead for you, and you don't answer, let's say in 7 days. It's a poor reflection on us, and it's a poor reflection on you two not answering.
Mm-hmm.
The third one is you need to be deeply passionate by your product or service. We're very passionate people, and we want to be surrounded by passionate people too. So that's the third vetting criteria. The fourth one is you need to come in from a warm introduction, or we need to know you already. Everybody who joins the network meets both Michael and myself, and we get to know you through that sense. And then the last one, which to me is the most important, is you need to be open to introductions. Because if you're not open, like you're open-minded, what's the point?
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't make sense. So
a lot of it, I mean, a lot of those are not things that you can objectively measure.
yes, if
They're
it's on a spreadsheet, on
Yeah.
a Google sheet, you can't.
You
It's impossible.
you could try to rate it, but it's a completely subjective. And so you guys, like, I guess where your superpower is and like where you hold, I don't want to say control, but what makes it so special is that it has to filter through you. Do you guys always want to keep it that way?
It's important for us. It's important for us to keep it that way. You know, historically, the past 2 years, it's been important, and it still is going to remain important. Now we understand scalability might be a little bit more difficult as we meet new people. Because think about how we got connected, right? Through a mutual friend who knew you, who knew me. He said, "You guys should chat."
Yeah.
That's one of the 5. That maybe is a little bit, objective. Sure, check. But how about the other 4, to your point, which is
Right.
accurate? And so we want to make sure we can maintain, because it's quality over quantity. Like 7,000 intros is super impressive, and we have, we can smell the roses, and that's all great. What's more important to us is the quality of those 7,000 introductions, because that, to us, the saying is one rotten apple ruins the whole bunch. If you have one person who comes in and maybe isn't an effective communicator, or, sours a relationship that we made, again, like Jake mentioned, it's a reflection on us as people and our brand, and that's all we have. There's some companies that sell a product, some companies sell a service. We have us and our people. It's connections as a currency. And so we were very, very particular about who we connect to who, how we connect them to each other, and also what happens as a result of that introduction. Because if we get positive feedback like we have for yourself, it incentivizes us to connect you to more people, because selfishly it makes us look better. And it helps you out as well.
If you were running what we were running, what would be your vetting criteria?
Man, here's the thing, because I kind of have to do that a little bit with this show. I kind of have to do that a little bit with my business. It's different. Like they're different criteria. And it's challenging because I have a decent amount of friends. I have a decent network, and a lot of people would do want to come on the show.
Right.
But I have limited resources and time and energy of how many of these I'm going to do. I can't say yes to everybody. And as much as there's a lot of friends and people I love and care about, even they don't there's certain things that I have to look for. If I was running something, I would do it exactly how you guys are doing it because it's working, right? But the challenging part is, and what you guys might not admit, but I'll say it, is how I would do it is yo, bro, it's just straight vibes.
Yeah.
If I meet you and if it's
along and you're chilling,
if it's I can read that, I can feel that. That's not something that I could ever put in a spreadsheet or an SOP. It's yo, did we vibe?
So right.
And most of the sales I've gotten in business, we have an incredible business, and I stand by the product, and everything that we do is great. But a lot of it has been off vibes. It's yo, would I want to be stuck in an airport with this dude? Would I want to grab a beer with them? Would I actually do I like this person? And I think that's so much of the battle. So much business is done because people like each other. It's not necessarily only obsessing with what the exchange is, what the transaction is. So, in a roundabout way, I think my answer would just be really protect your own energy and your own vibes and listen to that and honor that. If someone doesn't fit that, hey man, sorry, we're full right now. It is what it is.
Yeah.
And that keeps the sanctity of what you've built. Because like you said, you let that one bad apple in, it screws up the bunch.
Are you good at saying no? That's a side question, but I'm curious.
I've gotten better at it. I think earlier in my journey, I was in the mode of just say yes. Just say yes, figure it out. It'll be fine. I'm not, throw anyone under the bus, but there's been, people that I've signed out of scarcity or out of like, I need the check. Let's just do this thing. That always costs me more. More in time, energy, or everything. It's not worth it usually. Right. But I wouldn't change a thing because that's just part of the journey. You got to learn it. When you guys were whopping sushi during COVID, there's a reason why you pivoted, like there's a reason why we're sitting here today and not talking about sushi, I would say just, continue to honor that. And say I've gotten a lot better now at saying no. And that just comes with confidence and competence in yourself and maturity, honestly. As you just get older, you have less to prove and you're a little bit more just secure in yourself. And it's like, it just is what it is. I can't make everybody happy and I won't. And that's a game not worth playing. So how can I just honor stay true to myself?
I think over time, you, us, and everyone gets better too at knowing what the yeses should be and what the no's should look like. So in the beginning, the reason, and we were the same way, I said yes to everything. There's so much opportunity. There's so many conversations to be had, deals to be made, events to attend. Why wouldn't you say yes? And then you figure out what you like, what you dislike, what you're able to extract and provide for that, versus fast forward to where you're at in your journey now. Based on experience, that saying yes to this actually doesn't really help you. So the ability to say no is way more valuable than simply just being the yes man. And
exactly,
we've talked about it a lot. Like we're in business to help people. It's what we love to do. Unfortunately, we can't help everybody with everything. So knowing when to say no, so that we can allocate the resources we have, the time, the energy, the effort, the capital, to those we can actually help the most based on the infrastructure we've built. It helps all three parties. You mentioned confidence and competence. The only third one I would add to that is transparency, because when you're saying no, it's okay. Like it's okay to say no. It's okay to receive a no. That's going to happen in life, rejection. And I think just letting people know, and on the receiving end, I've had it too. Like that transparency to me goes a long way.
Yeah. The worst is when you send someone an email or a text and they just ghost you, and you keep following up and you don't know why they're ghosting you.
Yeah.
That's
I'd rather get a no than a nothing.
Just say no.
Totally. I want to switch gears to the advisory side a little bit. What does that even mean?
What does it mean? Great question.
It's a bit of a buzzword a little bit. The reason we started is because it was brought to us, meaning we started the company as we spoke about on the referral side, right? Making introductions. You ever hear the 80-20 rule in business?
This was when we met you, by the way. We didn't even have like pillars of our business. That was our whole business model, was just introducing people. When they said, what is Nucleus? We introduce people to each other. And now it's evolved.
And it's evolved in one of three formats, the first of which is advisory. The 80-20 rule happened to us, which is 80% of the revenue came from 20% of our clients out of the introduction model, right? So the 20% of the clients that we absolutely crushed it for, whether we generated millions in revenue, raised millions in capital, built out their board of advisors, helped them hire talent, string up partnerships, you name it, they came to us proactively to say, hey, you've changed our whole business. How do we get more of your time? They asked us. And so we told them, listen, the way we can do this is we can get a little bit more hands-on and we can act as an extension of your team. So they offered us a monthly retainer, sometimes some equity, and then upside to make warm introductions as a service. So instead of us being spread thin across working with hundreds of different partners, Nucleus Advisory is a way for us to hand select, cohesively, like this is a collaborative discussion, but with our partners to say, hey, this has worked. We've made 64 introductions and closed 37 deals. This thing has legs. Why don't we kind of work a little bit more closely together? So that's what Nucleus Advisory looks like today.
And the advisory, so many people are advisors. So many people are consultants. I think, in my opinion, is probably one of the most saturated jobs in America, being a consultant or an advisor. Our model and how we differentiate ourselves is we're not just going to get on the phone with you and tell you what you should be doing with your business. Because to us, as much experience as we have, which isn't that much compared to many other people, we don't know what you should be doing with your business. But what we could be doing for you is we know who we should introduce you to. We know who those people should be that we think that will get benefit from your service or product, or just you as a person. So when it comes to advisory, we join a Slack group with the team, whoever on your team that you want us to talk to, basically. We make a Google Sheet of basically the people in our network who we think you'd like as people, but also can benefit from your product or service. You then, as the client, look through everybody on there. You say yes or no. We then, of course, get double opt-ins from the yeses. And then we actually go and make strategic introductions, warmly, obviously, from us, from either Michael or Jake. And then we get on a bi-weekly call to review those introductions. So when it comes to advisory, it's like our goal of what we do is, of course, to learn about you and your business. But more importantly, our goal is to just widen your network and introduce you to more people. Maybe they'll do business with you. Maybe you'll just be friends. But so many people are missing that. And I think, like I was saying before, the paid media landscape now is paid media, cold outbound. That's what you're doing to get more clients, or word of mouth. Why is there not a warm introduction part or industry that's getting to the next level? And that's really what we're proving out, and it's proven to be super successful for what we do.
And it works, man. Just on the, like, logically speaking, right? We all know when you get a warm intro, like, all right, well, I trust, even beyond you guys, right? If someone I trust and love and like, that's my brother, or that's, you know, someone I really, really care about, and like their opinion matters. When I get that intro, I'm like, okay, like, this is legit. Like, this doesn't happen every day. This person's not just fishing for a referral or something like that. And even if they are, like, I don't care, as long if this person's provided me value, sure, whatever. But there's so much more intrinsic. There's trust pre-built. And it's the same like with any sales call I'd been on that came from a direct referral. It's like, I'm closing that deal. Like, the only reason I'm not is if it's genuinely not a good fit. Like, and it's such a way higher close rate because they're coming in with, like, without the armor.
They're open-minded.
They're like, you know, they're not like came from some ad and they're like, was this person going to try to sell me and go through their whole pitch and whatever? It's like, no, like, my, like, really close confidant trusts you. And this happened to me like 10 times in the last 24 hours, just being at one Tony Robbins event. Like, just the client that I came with, like, I was with my client. He's just naturally being like, you got to work with Deep.
Yeah.
And I've generated like 10 high quality, like, these deals are going, at least 8 of them are going to close. Just from first of all, like, doing good work. Like,
I was gonna say the first part is you provided a great service. That's a given, and your client loves you
for sure.
Right?
Like, actually do the thing. I think that's what people, like, get wrong. Like, you're not just gonna, like, go to these events and, like, you haven't done anything and you're just gonna get that, right? You don't just wake up one day and that happens. But, you know, it's so important to have that side figured out. Like, first of all, have a good product or service. Like, we'll start there. But then just being a good person, like, things just attract. They just come to you, and you guys just facilitate that in a cleaner way that's, like, systemized, right? And, like, really broadens the network. And the advisory thing makes a lot of sense to me because, like, if I pay you guys, I already know that, you know, you're gonna provide great warm intros already, just being part of the network. But then if I bring you in as an extension, basically, and you get deep into, like, yo, right now, like, my business is struggling with finance. I need a CFO. Like, I'm dying to have a CFO, you know? Because we'll be like, yeah, we know some guys. Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, I also need, you know, a head of sales. I want the best meta guy I can find, and, you know, I'm trying to make some YouTube content, and I'm getting married, and I need, you know, a wedding venue. You guys be like, all right, like,
we got you.
Let's get the spreadsheet going. Like,
get the spreadsheet.
No, because I mean, especially busy founders like you, think about how much time you would spend on finding everything you just said. Right. You'd probably go to ChatGPT or Google and type it in, but then you'd have to vet those people. What if there was, like, a layer that we vetted them for you and you trust us already? And it's a no-brainer. That's really what we're trying to build.
Also, you talk about earlier, you met 10 people and you think 8 of those deals are going to close, right? So conversion is typically higher, always higher with warm intros. I think the underspoken about aspect of that is even the no's that you're going to get are going to come faster, which I would argue is more important. Yeah. Because they're not going to drag your feet in the sand. You send them a proposal, they're going to ghost you. Like, that warm intro, it doesn't matter if they say yes or no. Higher conversion is great, but speed is the name of the game in startups and in this game. So that is something that's not really spoken about often.
That's powerful. That's very powerful. I've never heard you say that. Good job. I'm curious for you, how many, like, warm intros do you get? Like, to your phone or to your email? Like, how many a month do you say you usually get from friends? Or
probably around 5 to 10. You know, on, like, a slower month, maybe like 5 direct referrals. Maybe, like, you know, on a really good month, like right now, like 10 just from in one day type of thing. Like, and then it, you know, slows down. And I've also gotten better at asking. Like, I used to never ask. I used to feel really weird about asking the homies or clients or anyone, like, yo, who do you know that needs this? Yeah. It's that simple. But, like, I started doing that, and actually that's how I met you guys. I straight up asked Drew. I was going to New York.
Yeah.
Shout out to Drew Schumann and the No Company. That's my guy.
Yes, sir.
He's like, I'm going to New York, and I had no plan. I just wanted to line up as many meetings as humanly possible, but with people that are like I can provide some value to.
Yeah.
Would they be a good podcast guest? You know, would we be homies? Like, would we like vibe, or can we work with them? Right. And those are the three things. And he's like, bro, I got just the guys you need to meet. And I'm so glad that we actually did that in person. And that's something I do want to talk. I'll put a pin in that for now, but I'm so glad we did meet and get to vibe. And that's so powerful. Like that's what it's all about is, okay, I asked. If I didn't ask, this might not have happened.
It wouldn't have happened.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And
both
so,
malice don't get fed.
exactly. So yeah, that's kind of my take on that.
5 to 10 is pretty good, actually, compared to most. What I've seen is most people don't get any warm intros. They may get referrals, which is a little bit different than warm intros.
Yeah.
But there needs to be a lot more.
But I want to be transparent about something. Those 5 to 10, not all of them I can help. So I wouldn't say that I close 80% of those, right? Like that's not the actual close rate.
Right.
The close rate will probably be closer to like, 30 to 40% if you look at that total amount, because you this person you introduced me to like is not there yet with their company. Like they can't afford to have a whole media arm like us come and hormozify you. Like it costs money. Like it's not cheap. Or if someone makes an intro for someone to be a guest on my show, like and they're in the Netherlands, it's like I want to do this in person. Mm-hmm. I'd really rather do this in person. Now I'll make the odd exception if it's like it's like Tony Robbins tomorrow. It's like I'll be on your show for but it's gonna be virtual, brother. We're doing it virtual.
Where is it?
We're getting it done.
Big Tony Robbins guy.
Apparently.
Did you firewalk, by the way?
I did firewalk.
Yeah, I done it too.
That's cool.
How was it?
It was I thought that shit would hurt, and the whole point is that the power of the mind. Like I came into the Tony Robbins thing with a lot of like head trash around it. Thought it's all just a cult.
Me too.
It's very these people are like fucking screaming and shouting and jumping around, and it 100% is, but that doesn't make it a bad thing. I think there's so much that you can get from that and transform your life and change it if you like kind of submit to just looking silly, feeling goofy. But if you come in, like I came with a very clear intention, and I got that, and I'm really happy that I went. But yeah, it's outside looking in. It's strange as hell. Like I tried telling my parents about it and some friends about it. They're like, "Be careful."
Yeah.
I'm like, no, and I get that because you see some of the people as well. It's like, oh, they're in.
Yeah, they're going through it. Most of the people. When I was most surprised, I did it in Chicago, is 40,000 people, and when you're going to do the firewalk, Tony teaches you how to get ready to firewalk. So basically, everyone, you see 40,000 people like jumping up and down, like saying to their cell phone, yes, and everyone's jumping at the same time.
It's pretty electric.
And then you all walk out of the stadium together, and there's just rows of fire on rocks, and you just walk together and do it.
How long are you walking on that?
It's about like 7 yards, maybe not even like.
And you're barefoot.
You're barefoot, yeah. You're straight up walking on like 2,000-degree hot coals.
That's crazy.
And you'd think like that, there's no way like that's gonna burn my foot type of thing, but that's what the whole exercise is about. And he starts with that. Like the first day, I just went to Unleash the Power Within that event. That's his like starter. That's like after the books and the courses and stuff. I feel like that's the like, okay, come and experience this, feel it. Right. And I had not consumed any Tony Robbins content in my life. I knew he's this motivational dude and like he's the GOAT. He pioneered that. Like, and I respect people who are at the top of their game. I study the Tom Bradys. I love to see what makes a Michael Jordan, tick, a Kobe. Like I study that stuff.
Especially in that world, by the way, too.
Hell yeah.
Like Kobe can prove himself. Like Kobe can win, LeBron can win championships.
Yep.
The Tony Robbins, they always got to continue to evolve, or else they'll just fall because so many people are trying to take their spot.
Exactly. And I got a ton of value from it and a lot of deep work, a lot of like self-limiting beliefs and programming that I have to undo, things around money, things around success, things about like these just beliefs that to get to that next level, I think it's great to invest in yourself, whether it be a Tony Robbins thing or any coach or course or program. I always reinvest back into my own growth and the business and my team, because those dollars, like, although it's not direct ROI always, I don't look at it that way. It's the most important ROI, like that. Because if I can just get one nugget from something like that, bro, like, I'll print, like, the money. Don't worry about the money, like, that'll come. Like, so, I want to kind of switch gears a little bit to you guys. You guys are not just in advisory and have the network. Talk to me about the platform that's coming, or is it already out?
It's not fully out yet.
Okay.
Let's back up a little bit, actually. Just review like the whole Nucleus, which I think will probably help, because I know we reviewed advisory. We had basically, like we said, when we first started the company, it was, what do you do? We make warm introductions.
Yep.
It's now evolved after we made about, like Michael said, about 3,000 intros, 2,500 or so. We then were like, okay, what's the next step? What's Nucleus 2.0? Nucleus 2.0 needs to be more organized. So we created 3 pillars for our company. I'll never forget when we created them. It took a little bit of time to do. We had an offsite and really deeply thought. Deep. We said deep so many times.
It's not that deep, though.
It's not that deep, but this is pretty deep.
It was deep. This was deep as shit.
Nothing matters. It was pretty deep. We always say everything's figure outable. So this was figure outable, but it was difficult for us.
For sure.
So we came up with 3 pillars. It's Nucleus Ventures, Nucleus Advisory, and Nucleus Community. Those are the 3 pillars.
Okay.
I'll let Mike share after about the venture side. Advisory is what we just talked about. Our community business, which from the outside looking in, is what we show the most on social media. We use LinkedIn. It's our main platform that we show. Last year we did about 19 events. This year we're on pace to do close to 45. And those events, we don't do like these big conferences like the Tony Robbins events. We do smaller, more targeted, and I guess intimate and interesting events. Mm-hmm. Interesting. We're not just getting people together to just get together. We're doing ice baths, saunas. We're doing Kings games. We're doing, tennis tournaments, Jinx. And in order for us to do that, let's like basically, some would say, our top of funnel. Just for people to understand what Nucleus is, we like to bring people to these events just to see.
They don't have to be a member to come to an event.
We don't necessarily have a membership.
It's a great question. People always ask, like, how do I join the network? And like in a conversation like this, I'm like, you're in. Like when you came in through a warm intro, you're open-minded, you do great work. Like that's like the art and science subjectivity thing we spoke about earlier. We intentionally left it a little bit more dynamic and less structured in terms of who's in the network. And the reason for that is the network compounds on itself. And so what Jake was talking about is these 3 pillars. Advisory we touched on. Community is the second, which is our events business. It does 2 things for us. It allows us to add value to the existing ecosystem, right? So I know Deepak and I know Jake. You guys come to this event and enjoy yourself. But it also opens the door to meet new people who we haven't maybe met yet.
I could maybe bring a friend.
Sometimes we're plus ones. We partner with sponsors who bring in their own people and so on and so forth.
And I guess when it says like join the network, we usually wouldn't make an introduction to the person unless they're technically in the network. So if we vetted them already, basically. That's what's important to note. And then that basically falls under like the community sector, like the referral agreement model that we have there. If you want to share on ventures, and I can share about like the initiatives we're working on.
Yeah. So what we realized through the intros business initially, which evolved into advisory, and then the community on the event side, is that a lot of the requests, introductions, personas were living in this kind of startup ecosystem. It was founders, it was investors, it was venture funds, it was family offices, high net worth individuals, entrepreneurs. And we realized we have this insane deal flow pipeline. Our team, myself, Jake, and the people that are on the Nucleus team are speaking to hundreds of founders a month, because founders need stuff and they don't have time. Right. Founders need capital. Founders need podcast. How founders are looking to grow their business. And so we thought to ourselves, why are we not investing in the top 1% of founders that we see? We see this deal flow from the beginning, whether it's they're starting a company or they're growing their company, millions and billions of dollars. And so that's what Jake and I started doing, is we started angel investing into companies that we believed in the most, the top 1% in our mind. And then what that turned into is a lot of the network is on investors too, right? They invest themselves. And so what we did is we ended up syndicating those deals and sending it to our investor network to invest alongside us. And that today is what we call Nucleus Ventures, where we speak to founders. We invest both at the early and the late stages. We don't have a fund. We have no interest in raising a fund, to be completely honest with you, for now. But the reason we do that is it allows us to be opportunistic, and we could say, okay, Deepak is starting a coffee company. He's like looking to raise capital. We believe in Deepak. We love coffee. Can we help him outside of capital with introductions? If so, why would we not invest in that business? Because then it makes it easier for us to make the decision, but then also actually literally put our thumb on the scale and increase the valuation of the business through our introductions. That's the early stage thesis, right? Late stage, we do make investments into companies that are kind of pre-IPO, and that's more about providing access to deal flow that our investors typically wouldn't have exposure into, right? So Anduril, XAI, Mr. Beast is probably one you're super familiar with. And they were like, it's my favorite. These are companies that are like doing really cool things that are very late stage. Unfortunately, we're not at the point yet where I can text Elon or, Mr. Jimmy and say, hey, how can we help you with interest? Yeah. But the early stage thesis is hands-on. Late stage is how can we provide this access to our investor network? And so through Nucleus Ventures, in the past 10 months, we've invested $43 million into 16 different companies through this deal-by-deal approach.
Let's go. I'm excited to see that number continue to grow. And do you track that and make that number public?
Yeah.
Beyond just like this format type.
Yeah. We post about it on socials. We have our portfolio on our website where you can see.
That's really cool.
And it's a very diverse group of companies. Like the things that we even like to do are the ones we're investing into. We invested into Othership. Axe goes 3 or 4 times a week. Othership is a sauna and cold plunge.
Using this and top spot.
New York,
yeah, it's amazing. So we've done events there. We've introduced them to new members, and so we're adding value. Period. And also we love going, so we invested in that early stage.
And the founder now comes to us because we invest in and we go all the time. Like, I need intros to these types of people. So it's all like, once we invest the venture arm now that we have, it all kind of is a flywheel to everything else.
For sure. How do you know, like, what's the top 1%? Like, is it, again, subjective? Do you have to have used the thing? Like, is it just vibes?
Yeah.
How do you know?
Great question. So basically, what do we invest in?
Yeah.
And why do we choose to invest in that company?
Right. We, at the early stage, are underwriting people. We're not underwriting deals, right? If you're starting a company, the likelihood of you succeeding is more based on you versus the idea you have at the early stage because of the amount of pivots, right? We pivoted ourselves. We were selling sushi and now we're making introductions, and you've made many pivots yourself as well. Yeah. So the saying is you bet on the jockey, not the horse. The answer to your question for us is like, can we prove that we can actually help with the introductions, and how valuable is that to the founder? Yeah. And that's helpful for us to make the introduction on the early stage investments. In terms of industries, I think is what we were getting at earlier. Like Jake mentioned, we invest in a lot of different verticals. We've done health and wellness, we've done AI, we've done media, we've done CPG. I think it's easier to tell you what industries we probably stay away from.
Okay.
And that's because of our lack of interest, our lack of knowledge, and our lack of connections in those specific industries. One example is cannabis. We don't really know the space. We don't have many experts in the space. I'm never going to say never, but it's difficult for us to get behind a thesis for an investment decision into a cannabis company versus other.
And since we don't have a fund, when you invest into a fund, let's say you walk into an ice cream store and you need to invest in all the different ice creams. I don't like all the ice cream.
Yeah.
I want to choose what ice cream I want to get.
Mm-hmm.
So this model that we have on the venture side basically lets our friends, who everyone is investing with us, choose which one they want, which is helpful.
I think that's super interesting, and I think it's only going to build, grow, and scale. And like that kind of answers one of the questions that I had initially, but you guys kind of already answered, is like, how do you scale Nucleus, right? And you have these different arms that all kind of serve different purposes for different stages of where founders and investors are at. And you guys kind of just have this nucleus, this like matrix that you're looking at, where it's like, okay, like connecting those dots. But what are those like? Walk me through like behind the scenes. Like what are the day-to-day combos like look like? Like share with the people like, yo, how do you guys like come together and like, yo, what do you think? Like,
I've got a quick comment, but I think Jake is better suited to answer this question. My quick comment is that what we do is about human interaction, and we're both in the firm belief that there is no AI or tech that can replace that. With that said, there's a lot of AI and tech that can enhance it and enable it. And so internally, we've actually, Jake has taken the lead on this, been building internal AI tools and automation systems and processes and softwares for us to help us do what we do best, which is connecting great people to great people. Now, I don't think we collectively have agreed that we don't think that there's a world where you log on to the Nucleus Network portal and then connect with somebody else, because you lose that human capital element, which is the main value prop.
yeah.
With that said, we've been working a lot, and it's actually starting to come to fruition now, on some internal AI tools that help us just make that process a little bit quicker, a little bit faster, a little bit more efficient.
My answer to that is, what do we do behind the scenes? we're best friends, so we can just be like, yo, what do you think about this? Honestly, I think a lot of people, when they have like huge teams and a lot of other stuff, it's so slow. It's like,
Right.
goes through this and then this and then this. We just call each other and someone like pitches us something, or like we're thinking about a new software, a new idea, or a new pillar. We just get on the phone and we're like, hey, should we do this or not? And we're very quick. It's either yes
Money
or
loves
no.
speed, baby. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just doing things. And our head of growth now, who we just brought on, shout out Danny, who's a legend. I think that's a good word to, he's still young, but he's very, he has so much potential and he's amazing on our team. He's the same as us. And I think that's really important. He values speed. He understands that what it takes to kind of build a startup and actually obviously help in making those intros. So what Ax was saying actually tangibly on the back end of what this company looks like is we have an incredible CRM that basically tracks every introduction that we've ever made. We know a lot of people that make a lot of introductions. They don't track it, right? Going back to like anything, going back to basketball even, like imagine if you were LeBron James and you played all this basketball, but you didn't track all your stats.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you playing that much basketball? You know, does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
I know you're doing it for the love of the game, but you have to continue to remember what you're doing. So whenever we meet somebody, we basically have a tracker that can tell you how many intros we made for them, where it is in their stage of development. Are they talking to each other? Was there a deal won? Did they get coffee in New York? Whatever it looks like. The next iteration of our business as we build out the introduction tracker is using AI to come up with, we meet you, you tell us what you want. We basically can come up with a quicker way to introduce you to those people in a more efficient way. And then secondly, we actually just bought, which I'm very excited about, and so is Michael, is we just bought warmintroduction.com
Let's go.
and warmintroduction.ai.
Let's go.
So we own both of that. It's a big deal. Yeah, it's a big deal. And just the domain itself is
That's
fantastic.
a banger.
Yeah, it's a banger in itself. But the whole concept in business here is kind of going back to, I guess, paid ads. When you go to Google, now ChatGPT, you type in, I'm looking for, give me something that you use ChatGPT. Like, what have you been looking for that you went to like?
So even just like a restaurant, or let's say I'm looking for the best podcast studio in a city where I'm going on tour.
So how did you do that? What was your process?
I mean, honestly, my assistant did. I told her, I was like, but what my assistant then did is then go and look on Google, on ChatGPT, find the rankings, make a list, call them up, negotiate a price, all the stuff. But yeah, and then line it up.
So imagine that you had your assistant do it, right? Your assistant can now go to a site, that's warmintroduction.com, type in what you're looking for. I need a podcast studio in Los Angeles. Here's my budget of how much I want to spend. And then it's not actually just taking you to the site where you need to still do another cold outreach. You're then getting an introduction into your email or your text number to the person that can do what you're looking for. So imagine you fill out exactly what you need, but then getting a direct warm introduction from us, from the website to that person that's already vetted. So that's what we're building from the warmintroduction.com front. And our advisors are super excited about it. And we're fully on board.
In the early stages, but it has a lot of legs, and we've gained traction over the past couple months because when we meet you and you're looking for a podcast studio in LA, we could think top of mind, or we can search our CRM, and sometimes that works and sometimes that doesn't. But to the extent AI can scrape that data that we already have for the people we already know, and then propose Deepak should meet person A, B, and C, we can then do our quick thought and then, get those opt-ins and make those intros.
But then there's almost no limit to the amount of intros that you can make. That's really cool, but also like a little overwhelming, because then how do you bake in that vetting and that human touch?
Because the people who fill out the site, at a certain point, it's only going to be warmly introduced. So like a random person can't go on the site and fill out the survey for now. But if you know someone that needs a thing, we trust you already, they can fill out the site.
That's the layer of pre-vetting
Correct.
that's already baked into it.
And for the sell side, the people who are actually providing the service, we vetted all of those people. So no new people can be on that side.
You're not just going to sneak into warm intros and just, let's say someone runs a content agency like me, they're not just going to sneak in and just try to like get clients. It has to still have that double.
Well, you brought up earlier, you haven't seen Nucleus on paid ads or, in the media, and that's on purpose. So yeah, we post on, content on LinkedIn and on social media, but the paid ads is the opposite of what we're doing here. So same for warmintroduction.com. The whole point is to actually have it be pre-vetted, baked in. There's no way for you to go find it on an ad because that depletes the purpose of it.
I love how you guys have gone about it, and like from when I've met you, like that ethos has stayed so strong. And although you've added these other arms, and like you guys are just gonna continue to do that and like do amazing stuff, like it comes back. It's grounded in that, we are gonna do this almost not slow, but like the right way. There's a million, like you could have done. There's so many of these clubs and stuff that are just like pay to play and stuff, and then they burn out, they fizzle out, they shut down, they lose its touch. But you guys are kind of only like, you guys are just adding infinity stones, bro. It's like constantly evolving, but like staying true to that ethos. And I really like that. One thing that I touched on earlier, and we've been talking about it throughout this, is like the meeting in person part. To me, that's really important. We could have done this pod a while ago virtually. I kind of tried my very best. Like I was telling you, I'll stay true to keeping it in person as much as possible, because it can't replicate the energy in this room right now. Like the boys are buzzing. I feel like we can go for like 3-4 hours talking about any one of these arms and philosophies and whatnot. And that to me is the ultimate trust. How do you guys facilitate that, or not facilitate it? How do you guys honor in person versus, well, like if someone in Zimbabwe wants to join, like you're not going to get on a flight. I mean, depending on who, but like, and link up with them. How do you manage that, the remote aspect of this network that's kind of just continuing to grow?
We're very big on in person. So big that I actually relocated from LA back to New York because meeting people in person is a little bit easier to do it in that city. When we started the company, we had an office in Santa Monica, a couple miles down the road from here. And we were doing a handful of in-person meetings per week. We investors and founders and partners and clients and agency you name it. What I realized is that the more you can compound those in-person meetings, the ones that actually matter and move the needle, the faster you'll grow. And so last summer, I decided to move back to New York, had a conversation with Jake about it, opened up an HQ in the city, because now I'm doing 3 or 4 in-person meetings a day. And so you multiply that, 5 days a week, 6 days a week over many months, and now over a year, we've seen the fruits of the labor come to fruition, where, it allows us to do more events. It allows us to make more intros. It allows us to meet new people. And we're still doing that in LA too, but now we've got myself and Jake on different coasts. It leans into that ethos of what you mentioned, which is in person. Now, to the example you gave, sometimes it's unavoidable. Sometimes there's an individual or an entity or a deal or an opportunity that's so far away and so time pressing. And of course you can, adjust and be open-minded and make that happen. But for us, we almost always try and lean into the in-person when we can.
And there's surveys that have gone out of data showing that 80%, it could be 85% of people understanding each other are from energy and from like their body movements, like the way that they move. And you can't see that. You can't feel it on a Zoom call or a Google Meets or whatever. So I think especially if it's a relationship that you want to stay close to for a long time, you have to find a way to get on the plane and go meet the person.
Yeah, we're big on getting that plane. Let me ask you a question. How do you view that? Meaning like you have a big client that you maybe want to close or a relationship you want to forge. What determines your decision-making power to say, I'm going to get on this plane or I'm going to do this?
Because we know you're on the move a lot too.
Yeah.
At this stage in my life, I'm getting on that plane for the right opportunity. Now, it goes back to the previous, like, me talking about, like, it's an energy, it's a vibes thing. It's also like alignment. It's also, there's logistics involved. Like if I just can't, like, okay, we'll do a phone call. Like, I definitely will still, I'm not going to, it's in person or bust. Like you're only one person. You can't be everywhere. And there's just more and more opportunities every day. I think actually what I'm finding challenging as I grow as a man, as a business owner, as a podcast host, as all these identities, is opportunity management. And that's something that you guys, I feel like, have mastered, is like manage.
Not.
Well, at least from the outside looking in, like, there's so many opportunities, and it's like, well, I have a finite amount of energy in a day, right, and time. We all have the same amount. I can't get on a plane for everybody, but for the right person and the right opportunity, I will. And that's because, and I'll do it probably more now than maybe at a different point in my life, where if I have, kids, I'm married, I got, I'm a little bit more grounded. Maybe my priorities will shift. Right now, I'm hungry. Now's the time. Like now, like I have to do it now. But we were talking about this a little bit before the pod started, like that comes with drawbacks as well. I don't really like travel the way that I used to. I used to think that my dream life is just traveling and going being on a plane, like being a nomad. I used to think like the consulting life seems so cool. You're just city to city. You're like
Getting paid to travel.
Getting paid to travel. Now, I actually would really love to just stay in one place as long as possible, and then microdose travel. Like go for a week, come back for a couple months. Go for a week, get my fix, come back. That's a pace that I feel like I'd like more, but that doesn't get shit done. Right. That's really good for inner work and peace and like sanctity, and that's why I just did 6 months in Colombia. I needed to ground myself and say no to some stuff for a season. And I call that playing defense. I had to play defense for one season, but then complete opposite. Now I'm playing absolute offense. I'm city to city. I'm meeting so many people. But that's not sustainable. So I think as I continue to build and grow myself as a person, I think I need to figure out a way to be able to scale myself and my travel while not messing up all my routines. And I think
I was about to say routines because I've noticed you on social media, on Instagram. Amazing follow, by the way.
Thanks.
The morning routine that you have.
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
Yeah. So I wake up every morning, shower, shit, do what I need to do. I jam some electrolytes, and then I try to get out of the crib like as soon as like possible and get some sunlight, go for like a little light walk and go to a coffee shop, any type of coffee shop or any like new environment. And I sit down and I fill out my 1% better contract with myself.
What's your coffee order, side note?
I just get an Americano.
Okay.
Americano with little milk. People judge me for the milk.
It's for normal milk.
A little bit of normal milk.
Regular.
Good for you.
Regular. I know it's crazy these days.
Milk too.
No oat. But I'm also not on that raw milk. Yeah, I hear people like chugging raw milk. I'm not
raw milk.
I'm not. Maybe Drew. I think Drew might be.
Drew's on that shit. Drew's definitely on that shit. So
at the 1%, yeah.
Basically, this contract with myself is just something like I honor any contract that I sign with anyone, like to like a detriment sometimes, or it's like there's one thing in one clause that one client 3 years later will pull up and ask for a refund, and I'm like, we've done like okay, but I don't like. I'd rather not deal with this. Whatever. But that is very important to me, any type of contract. Like that is a legitimate deal. I will honor that. So why don't I apply that to myself? And so I printed out this sheet, which I'm actually releasing this. I'm just going to give it out to everyone. But it takes a little bit of work, a couple hours to sit with yourself and figure out your why, your identities, and like your 3 things that you are focusing on in this season. And you have that on this sheet, and that's one page of it. The second page, I just do it one double-sided sheet. For me, it needs to be easy. I can't have a freaking 4-hour morning routine. This takes me less than 5 minutes every single day. I read this thing, kind of prime myself, and then I write my 3 wins of the day as if they've already happened. Like I
before the day.
Like today's, I literally wrote like podcast with you guys. I've got another podcast later with this AI company founder, and get a workout in. I still have to get the workout in. I had some cheesecake before, so I might have to go a little extra hard. But those are already done. And then I have a backup win, right? Sometimes things happen. Like what if the workout like can't happen today, like for whatever reason, or the podcast gets canceled. It's outside of my control. Backup wouldn't be something like, yo, go walk 20K steps. You're a big walker. I love walking. That's actually where most of my high-level strategic stuff comes from. I always try to get like 15 to 20K steps. Boom. Let's get that in. Then I sign it and put the date. That's it. And I do that every single day.
Handwrite it?
Handwrite.
Once you're done with the 1%.
Hand sign it. Like the thing's printed out, but I just sign it and I write the 3 wins.
Yeah. And then when you finish, you go on with then the day starts.
I go on with my day, and then the second part that's actually arguably more important is before I go to bed, I go and I cross off my wins. So it's creating this like
Is there a check mark next to it? So
There's a check mark. Yeah, it's very satisfying.
I want that.
I got you, bro. And then like I check it off, and I'm like, yo, I won today. Because I think as entrepreneurs and people who we want to do so many things, it's easy to get such an overwhelming to-do list and always feel like it's never complete. And it's very hard to see and measure progress. Even though you maybe crushed your day, there's probably more things you didn't get to than the things that you did get to.
I think that's every day.
Every single day. And it kind of, I was starting to find myself feeling like not enough. Like I wasn't doing enough. I'm not grinding enough. I'm not where I want to be. There's this big gap between where I am and where I want to be. And just focusing on that so much, like, kind of puts you in a negative state. And I'd rather just be in a positive state. So how can I just bake a win into every single day, and actually 3 wins? So when I look at that, and like I have like months of data now that I look at, and I'm like, yo, I'm fucking winning. Like we're like actually stacking these wins too. And 1% every day compounds, man.
So you talk about you mentioned measuring success. So you're looking at this inter-day, like Monday versus Tuesday versus Wednesday, but then you say, I have 3 months or a full season's worth of these compounding wins. How do you, because the 1% contract to me makes a lot of sense day to day. This is my Monday contract, signed, sealed, delivered next. This is my Tuesday contract. Then 3 months happen. Do you look back quarterly or monthly or biweekly and say, here's what I've accomplished in the past 3 or 6 months to show yourself how far you've come?
So I reverse engineer it from, actually, I look back at it daily. So every night, the second part of this is at night, I review the sheet, I cross off the wins, and then there's actually like a bunch of like questions in there of like, did I get 1% better today and why? And then that's like my little journal. It's like only a couple lines, but it's like, well, yeah, I did this, and this. I just bullet point, write a bunch of cool things that I did. And then I rank myself on like, did I create content today? Did I like exude love today? Did I, move my body today? Did I, connect with, God or whatever? And these are all, by the way, this whole sheet will be customizable to you, your things. Like, I'm not telling you my things should be your things. And then I actually pull out my phone. Again, this is all about making it as easy as possible. Right. I pull out my phone and I do a voice note to myself of 2 to 3 minutes recapping the day.
Wow. It's in your voice memos?
It's in my voice memos, and I can pull it up like every single day.
That's powerful.
I just go and I just write.
Do you like talk to yourself?
I just talk to myself. It's just a little, and every single day you can see I go and I have like just a little 2 minute, 3 minute, sometimes it's 10 minutes because it's like, crazy day.
Yeah,
a lot happened.
You know, it would be really interesting if you uploaded those full circle moment, put those into AI and ask AI questions about your own progress. How is that?
So that's what's next. I take the transcript because Apple transcribes it automatically, and that's what I do every Sunday. I take my transcripts from the week and I throw it in ChatGPT. And I haven't gotten to a quarter yet doing this exercise, but I want to do a monthly review on the first of the month for the previous month. It's very easy to just put a reminder in your phone to like, okay, let's take our recordings of the last 4 weeks and then feed that and like measure against the original side of the sheet and goals and like your life vision. And I'm still working through this. This is in like V3 right now, but like it'll continually evolve. And I want to have quarterly reviews. I want to have, half the year of the full year reviews. And think of how powerful that data is to actually quantify your growth. And also to just be like, I think that's way better than just setting some New Year's resolutions and just being like, did I do it or not? That's really unsatisfying to me. It's like, I guess I hit like 2 out of 12 goals. That's other shit year.
Your goals change though.
They evolve all the time. Yeah. And that's what's important about this being daily. And also not beating yourself up if you miss a day. I haven't, but that's just because I'm psychotic about this. Like I'm trying to make this like a thing. And so, I appreciate it.
You've got your backup. You got your backup one too.
But
I find interesting is like once you do the upload to AI, you can ask it questions on where you might be where it thinks you're deficient. You didn't work out as much.
I built my prompt and I'm still working on the prompt piece. That's why I haven't released this yet. Like I really want to make it super powerful so that it's not just like, I find ChatGPT by default is like, just gassing you up, just telling you what you want to hear.
To be honest, you got to tell it.
You got to tell it, like,
gas me up.
Don't, like, obviously I want some of that. It's kind of nice, but not full out, just like, yo, glazing the boy. Like, yo, I get enough of that in my life. I want you to tell me, like, yo, where'd you fuck up? And I'll tell it, like, yeah, today I was like super stressed out, and like I came to this one meeting with like really whack energy. I was pissed. I was fuming because I carried 5 things from previous meeting into this meeting, and I was short. I was a bit of a dick. And then it'll tell you, like, okay, it was like, let's improve that tomorrow, and then I'll go and apologize to the person. Like, might not have done that before, so.
You know, you can train to, do you use a note taker in your calls?
Yeah.
Do you put
Fathom.
note taker notes? Do you use Fathom notes into the GPT too? So it can read your body?
That's more for business stuff. Like, I don't do Fathom with myself on the daily thing because, again, it goes back to, like, I need to make this as easy as possible.
Yeah, right.
I always have my phone. I'll never not have my phone, so I know I'll always have voice notes. Will I always go on a Google Meet with myself, make sure my Fathom joins? No, dude. When you're cooked, at the end of the night, the last thing you want to do is, like, another meeting. Like, bro, voice notes to me is, like, such a hack. Use the tools you already have. I like the paper piece, but I'm also going to make this available for people to have on like a Notion template. If, you just don't want to carry around, like, I literally have a binder that I carry around with me. It's thin. It's like half an inch, but like
just a bunch of the same sheet.
It's the same sheet that I've just printed 30 out for the month. And I just fill that out every day. But to me, that's like, I love that thing. That's like my diary. That's my like really important. It's the most important thing because it's a daily check-in with myself.
To me, I think the only way you'll lose is if you stop doing it. Exactly. And I think like consistency, as we both know, is the easiest way to prove if you'll be successful, if you're consistent. So if this is your thing, try to do this thing for as long as possible.
I can't wait till this time next year when I see all the progress you made in the past 12 months.
Appreciate it, boys. No, thank you. And I'll definitely send it over to you guys as well and check it out. And it's evolving. And I'd love to hear feedback as well. Like, yo, bro, like, have you thought of this? And like, I'd actually love some help on like the prompt stuff because the AI world is still, I'm learning, but
it's a crazy world, man.
I might need an intro.
We're still learning that every day.
Boys, we could sit here for hours and keep going. I forgot we were even doing a pod. Like, this just feels like we're just chilling, kicking it. We'll do many more of these. All right, this is the first of many. I want to leave the pod with what really excites you guys right now. Like, what's getting you really fired up about the future?
What really excites me is we've gotten to a point where we've made 7,000 plus introductions, invested in 16 plus companies, hosted 30, 40, 50 events. And we're seeing the positive effects of those compound on each other in really specific ways. Meaning a client we maybe used to service for advisory comes back unannounced, unsolicited, and asks for more intros or gives a referral because they had a great experience. Or someone comes to an event that we maybe didn't get a chance to interact with, but they met their new co-founder and they came to thank us and, do business, or come to another event or make an introduction. And like those things only happen with consistency and with time. And now that it's been 2+ years, it's starting to compound on each other. And that to me is the most exciting because it's all the work we've done helping us out even more on top of the work we're continuing to do now.
Beautiful.
I'll start with 2 things. One is personal. I guess one is business. I think personally, what I'm most excited about is I moved back to LA like 9 months ago from New York. And I'm having the best time. I just love being here. I'm close to my family.
You love LA, bro. I love how much you love it.
It's my city. My city. You got everything you need here, honestly. The weather's great. Restaurants. I'm happy you're liking it. Not loving it yet, but maybe we'll get you there.
We'll get there.
Personally, yeah, moved back to LA. My girlfriend, Audrey, shout out. She's one of a kind, super special. I've been dating for 15 months now, and she's a real one. And I think everyone should try their best, especially founders, to take time to actually found who your significant other is. Because if you find the right one, especially in business, like you can.
That's a rock
to the
that's
next
an anchor.
level. Yeah, I think that's really.
Jake's gonna get me in trouble, so I got to shout out Alessandra now too.
So now we're even. I do. Yeah. Yeah. That's personally. I mean, professionally, and for Nucleus, I mean, I think it's been a crazy 2 years. We just hit our 2-year mark. He calls it 2 years. I call it like 22 months, but we'll call it 2 years. It's been insane, man. Like when we first started this company, there's obviously you always want to be super positive and you want to know what the future will hold. You never know what's going to happen. Like most businesses fail after a year, right? Over 50% fail after a year. And to get to this 2-year mark is a success on its own. But what Axe was saying is like, we're just hitting our stride. Like the momentum is there. We have amazing people around us. We're about to launch our board of advisors actually this week, where we have 5 unbelievable, prominent thought leaders that have our back, that want us to succeed, that are there for us.
Let's go.
We're putting it out on LinkedIn and Instagram this week. And also like just social media in general. Axe, I remember when he had like 4,000 followers on LinkedIn, which doesn't matter. The numbers don't matter as much. It's more about the impressions and people like watching. But the way that he's been able to kind of bring that into his life and like make it more personalized, people are starting to take note. They're starting to realize that we're not just an in and out type of company that does something for a year. We're in this for the long haul. And if you want to be with us, be with us. And if you don't, it's okay.
Yeah.
And I think people are starting to realize that. Yeah. I mean, it's just consistency. And it's like Ax said, it's starting to build up. So excited for all 3 of the pillars, excited for warmintroduction.com, excited for everything that we have moving forward. And yeah, I think it's really just the beginning now.
I mean, by the time this comes out, I mean, warmintroduction.com will probably be live. Where else can people connect with you guys and you know, learn about Nucleus and see if it's a fit?
The website, yeah, I appreciate that. Website's thenucleusnetwork.com. My email is jake@thenucleusnetwork.com. Michael's axe@thenucleusnetwork.com. He goes by Axe, by the way. That's his thing.
I love that. It reminds me of Billions. Like, it's just like
Axe Cap.
Axe Cafe, bro. Yeah.
And LinkedIn, I think LinkedIn's a great spot. We're pretty active on the platform, so either email or LinkedIn is best.
Yeah, and call. You can call me too on my cell. It's 310-880-9259. I love when people call because then we can really get to know people. So
And it speeds things up, man. The art of the call has been a lost art, but
and the voice note.
boys, this has been an honor and a privilege. Thank you for coming on the show.
Great.
And thank you for being amazing humans. Let's keep building and growing. It's not that deep.
Not that deep. Thanks for having us, dude.
Let's
Thank
go,
you.
boys. Let's go.
Thank
For
you.
sure.